Well, it's been a few years, but it's finally time. The Humminbird is getting an upgrade. Welcome to Anthony's Outdoors, and in this episode, I'm going to show you guys how I go about getting rid of my Humminbird Helix 7 G2N and upgrading it for the Helix 9 G3N right here. Picked this guy up at Cabela's on sale, got it for like $300 off a couple weeks ago. Really hard to pass up that deal. We've been looking to upgrade our Helix 7 here for a while now. We ran into some issues with the software updates due to the fact that this being so old and the fact that I hadn't updated it in probably 2 years. Was going to send it off to Humminbird, and they were like, well, it's going to cost you about $240 just for them to look at it. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not paying for shipping for you guys to look at it and then paying an additional $240 for you to tell me that you guys can't fix it. So they sent me a SIM card or a little SD card to pop in there to try to override the system in here and get it updated to the current software, and it was just a no-go. So they're like, yeah, there's really not much you can do. So this is now a $500-600 paperweight. So in comes the Helix 9 G3N with down and side imaging. A huge upgrade over this older model here. This Helix 7 was just the standalone chirp GPS unit. It did not have down imaging or side imaging. So this is going to be a huge upgrade for us, especially when we're fishing newer waters. We'll be able to see structure that normally we would have had to pass over multiple times to basically figure out, or using a crankbait to find those rocks and stumps and stuff like that. So huge upgrade, and we're going to get into the install right now. First order of business is going to be removing the old one here. So as you can see, I've got an old ball mount here. I believe this is a ram mount here that we picked up from Cabela's, and it wasn't cheap actually. But we just mounted it to this piece of wood right here, and that was fine for the 7. However, when if we were hitting real heavy wake or real wavy day out on the water, this thing would do this on us as we're driving, and we'd have to basically hold it up there and keep it into position while driving, and that was just a big pain in the butt. So we're gonna have to rework this, and I've come up with a solution. It's not gonna be the prettiest thing in the world, but it will absolutely be functional. So what I have here is a 4x4 that I coated in Flex Seal. Basically a rubberized coating. I'm sure you've seen the commercials for it where he paints the bottom of a boat and the boat floats. I don't know about all that, but what I do know is that it does a really good job of sealing out water from wood. So I've decided to coat this 4x4 in black Flex Seal, and then we're gonna bolt that bad boy right to the bottom of the boat and to the side console to the side of the console here, and that should make it really sturdy, really rigid. And then we can mount the new ram mount that I picked up that's smaller and more sturdy to the top of this. All right, so as you can see, this is where the old one was mounted, and it served its purpose. It was fine. I did find myself crouching down every once in a while to kind of look at the screen. And then also, the way this was mounted, I was able to turn this so that when I'm fishing from the front of the boat or the back of the boat, I could see the screen and not have to have or spend a lot of money and buy 2 units, basically. So I wanted to do the same thing with the system that we have here. The Helix 9s are running, the bare bones cheapest model is like $1,100. So that's a pretty penny to spend. So we got to make do with what we got. And here comes the post, right? So I want to be able to elevate the new screen up a little bit. That way, when I'm driving and I'm sitting, I want this area right here covered by the screen. So I'm not constantly looking down. I can be looking over my windshield, through my windshield, and be right in line with my new screen. That was a little easier than I thought. All right, got my brackets in place for the 4x4, and it should fit perfectly, just like that. I'm gonna coat the top of that when I'm done, but lines up nice, good height, and yeah, moving right along. All right, it's the next morning. I had to run to the Home Depot to pick up some parts, just some hardware to finish mounting this fish finder up. I wanted to mount it first and make sure that I could get the articulation that I need for when I'm standing up at the front of the boat, and you know, if it's the right level when I'm sitting, you know, behind the steering wheel, trolling or mapping out lakes or whatever it might be. And I've got it where I want it, and I wanted to do that so that I could then run the cables and make sure that I have enough cable to get to the back of the boat. Shouldn't be an issue. The last one that I had, the Helix 7, had plenty of cord left actually to make it happen. So yeah, I'm gonna flip this around and you'll see exactly what I see when I'm sitting behind the driver's seat. Okay, so that's how I've got it mounted. This could be temporary, this could be permanent, depending on how well that mount holds up. It is a cheap plastic knockoff from a ram mount, so we'll see. But I like where it's mounted. It's perfectly in line with my vision. I won't be craning my neck anymore. And then when I stand up front and I'm fishing and I turn this screen back around, I've got a nice visual there too. So this should work out. Now for the fun part of running cable down through the dashboard there and along here. All right, I've got all the wiring exposed. Just keep in mind this is a very old boat. It is a 1988 smoker craft. So, and it's been rewired a bunch of times from different various owners and stuff. So I was able to find the power. This is from my old unit here, tied into the battery here, running the lead all the way down that way to the battery box into there. And then I also pulled out the old sonar wire from the back of the boat and got that all taken care of. So now I need to pull the boat out a little bit so I can get back behind there and get that old sensor off so I can install this new side imaging, down imaging sensor. Got the old sensor off and you can see where we had the cable running. So I'm going to try to do the same thing, run that cable through this hole here and then back through here underneath the deck and then up into the sideboard there. We'll see how that works, but I'm going to clean that, prep that to mount the new one. Alright, so the old Helix 7 that I had, these just plugged directly into the unit, and you just kind of flopped around on the dashboard whenever we'd unplug it and take the unit off for when we transport the boat. With this new model, you get this nice little upgraded block here that you run these cables through, plug directly into the back of the unit. These tabs here, and you can just separate the whole thing, and these stay protected inside here. Nice little upgrade feature with the Helix 9. All right, moment of truth. Got everything wired up and run through. I still got everything exposed just in case I didn't do something right. Here comes the power test. Let's see how I did. Hey, look at that. I did it. All right, I've got my preset set and I'm ready to get out on the water. So my first preset here, this is just the GPS chart and then the sonar. I prefer this screen when I am driving from spot to spot or cruising across, you know, big open water. I like that view. My second preset is going to be when I'm primarily fishing. It's going to be my side imaging and my chart view. And then my third preset, which I'm really excited to use, is going to be my chart, GPS, down imaging, and side imaging. This will be awesome for when I'm fishing on new spots or new lakes that I've never been on before, and I'm just able to chart everything out, map everything out, and get a good lay of the land of the structure. And I can hit waypoints, you know, on the screen there and come back to them when I if you like fishing those spots. Well, that about does it for this episode of Anthony's Outdoors. I know this wasn't the most exciting video in the world. I'm really looking forward to getting this thing out on the water. Maybe next weekend if the weather cooperates. I don't know, we'll see. Otherwise, its maiden voyage is gonna be for our annual Pike-a-thon, which is coming up here in about 4 weeks or so. So that should be a lot of fun. Again, I appreciate all my subscribers out there for following along. If you guys liked what you saw in this episode, hit that like button. Comment down below on what kind of sonar system you use. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and be sure to check us out on Facebook and our Instagram page. And as always, thanks for watching. Hopefully, I can keep this unit updated and I don't run into that issue of not being able to update the software. So that was kind of a bummer, and that turned that old fish finder into a giant paperweight. So update your Humminbirds.